time for your ABC 36 Storm Team forecast.
Some very beneficial rain here in central and northern Kentucky around daybreak, a cluster moving through, but much of the day has been dry. We've had a few little spotty showers and storms here and there in this typical July pattern with the daily storm chances, mainly during the afternoon and evening hours, will be sticking around. Now, with this pattern, afternoon highs are actually going to be right at or even slightly below average for this time of the year. That's a plus, considering a week ago at this time we were dealing with a good bit of heat. And how far south this late week front that's going to arrive on Thursday, how far south it drifts, that is really going to have pretty big impact on our weekend forecast. You notice around the area, again, these things pulsing up and pulsing down. I've got a couple that have fired up, producing some heavier rain along the McCreary-Whitley County line, and then over into western Knox County along I-65 around the Louisville metro area and points westward. They've got some decent storms there, but for the remainder of the late afternoon and into the early evening hours, probably around sunset or so, not long thereafter, a lot of these will begin to weaken. But this area out west had a lot more in the way of sunshine. Those clouds that lingered for a while and held our temperatures down have really held off a lot of the storms developing. You see a little bit more in the way of sunshine there in downtown Mount Sterling, in front of the Montgomery County Courthouse, up to 81. So took a little while, but most locations are now into the low and mid 80s around the area. Now with some of the clouds and the rain back toward Bardstown, only in the upper 70s. Our dew points up, but nothing off the charts for this time of the year. You look at the Ohio and Tennessee Valley as a whole, remember our average high is 87, so a lot of the area below that. Here's the stalled out frontal boundary, and that will be the focal point of occasional rain and storms, primarily during the afternoon and early evening heating over the course of the next few days. Anything that develops after sunset is going to be fairly quiet overnight. Into the upper 60s tomorrow morning, but anything that does develop will be very slow moving and has a potential of producing some localized heavier rain. The reason for that, notice how the upper level flow is running essentially parallel to where that front is. So when these things develop, there's no upper level winds to really drive them eastward or move them at all very fast. And as a result, that keeps some of that heavy rain in play. Notice how we bump things up a little bit on Thursday. That's because we've got another frontal boundary dropping in from the northwest. That boundary hangs around into the midweek. So a few isolated to scattered storms, mid 80s. But as that front moves in, hopefully more organized activity. And again, how far south it goes, that will be critical to how dry the weekend is. I do think we'll see a dip in our humidity, at least a bit heading into the weekend. But again, the key is the position of that front. Warm, a few scattered storms this evening. 68 for the overnight low. Coming up tomorrow, 85. Mainly cloudy skies, some sunshine in there, and a few afternoon and early evening thunderstorms. Now, looking down the road at this point, we're going to keep some low-end chances in there as we do begin to heat things up, but the data not really syncing up. One set of data wants to push the front to the south, which would keep us dry and help to heat us up. Obviously, if it hangs over the area, that's going to mean a little bit better in the way of thunderstorm chances, but we'll play optimistic for now and keep things mainly dry over the weekend with afternoon highs in the upper 80s to around 90.